Hey, welcome to Half the Battle.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I did a top 5 of most improved G.I. Joe toys.
And turnabout is fair play.
So today, we're taking a look at the top 7 worst later versions of G.I. Joe figures.
But before we get to the list proper, here are some honorable mentions.
Honorable mention, Stars and Stripes Forever set from 1997, and most of that year, really.
Look, this entire list could be twice as long and still only include figures from 1997, so I'm just lumping them all together here.
The Stars and Stripes set was horrible. Bad plastic quality, bad paint applications, and oh yeah, figures that didn't look a thing like the characters they were supposed to represent. Trust me, in future character videos, all of these will get their turn on the chopping block. Honorable mention, less articulation in the 2002 G.I. Joe vs. Cobra line. 2002 saw a huge G.I. Joe renaissance with a new toy line and even some new characters.
But with it also came cost cutting.
The earliest figures didn't have O-rings anymore, leading to limited articulation in the legs and torso. This went over about as well as you'd expect with the fans. Fortunately, history seemed to repeat itself, as, just like in 1983, the toys did well enough that most got an O-ring version a little while later. Number 7. Scarlett from the comic pack.
My friends, I have heard you.
Yeah, when I did my top 5 most improved toys list, 90% of the comments were about how awful this Scarlett figure really was.
Well, never let it be said that I don't listen to my viewers.
So, because you demanded it, this toy is now on both the most improved and worst later version list. And yes, I acknowledge her head is too small for her body. But in fairness, it looks better in real life than in a photo. I mean, a camera removes like 10 pounds of the head. And putting this figure next to the original makes it look worse, considering that one had a balloon-shaped head. Number 6. Interrogator version 2 from 1993.
And now we come to the terror that can be repaints.
I love the original Interrogator figure. It has menace, it has coolness. And then they did this to it. This is about as menacing as the freaking Care Bears. And you know the worst part? This repaint would actually be pretty cool if they used literally any other color that wasn't neon.
And speaking of horrible repaints...
Number 5. Road Pig version 2. They painted him orange. They painted his skin orange.
They painted his skin orange!
Do I really need to say anything else?
No? Good. Let's move on.
Number 4. Python Patrol Crimson Guard.
Oh, you thought we were done with repaints? Ha!
Crimson Guards are supposed to be crimson. They are not supposed to be bananas. You take my favorite G.I. Joe figure of all time, and you do this to it. I already went over this in my Crimson Guard review, but this needed repeating. Anyway, that's it on the list for mere repaints.
Let's move on.
Number 3. Scrap Iron version 4. They turned Scrap Iron into this. What am I even looking at? What were they even trying to do? Make him look futuristic in a 60s sort of way? He looks like he should be in one of those knockoff Power Ranger shows. He looks like the Blue Beetle if he was designed by Fisher-Price. So yeah, not a fan. But this thing pales in comparison to... Number 2. Mega Marines Clutch.
Remember Clutch?
Vehicle driver, kinda bland figure, womanizing a-hole in the comic book. Well, this is what happens when he joined the Mega Marines.
Clutch! What in the name of Skinner's steamed hams did they do to you?
This is an assault on the eyes. This is a declaration of war on good taste everywhere. This isn't a toy, it's the visual equivalent of chemical warfare. And yet, it's not the worst toy on this list. And you wanna know what's funny? The worst toy doesn't even have any garish colors.
It's number 1 for an entirely different reason.
Number 1. Cobra Commander, Rise of Cobra. And here it is.
That's not Cobra Commander!
Hey, we can all acknowledge that Cobra Commander has had some questionable looks over the years. But none of them included Freddy Krueger wearing a fishbowl on his head. This is the design they went with for the live-action G.I. Joe movie. Well, sort of. I mean, he only looks like that for like the last minute of the film, and they scrapped this look for the Retaliation movie, giving him a more traditional look there. It's like they realized right after the movie that this was a huge mistake.
And yeah, I tend to agree.
Outside of Snake Eyes, Cobra Commander has the most iconic look of G.I. Joe, followed closely by the Baroness and Destro. It does not pay to mess with that. And you'll note they did stay very faithful to the design of Snake Eyes in the movie. So yeah, this is the worst version of Cobra Commander ever. I swear I'd let the bobblehead version lead my Cobra troops before this guy. And it also makes him the worst later version of a G.I. Joe figure.
And that was the list. And hey, if you have your own least favorite versions of G.I. Joe toys, why not let me know in the comments below? Well, I'll see you next time, everybody. And hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing?